Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is for the movie called If Beale Street Could Talk. From Academy Award winner Barry Jenkins, adapted from James Baldwin's acclaimed novel, comes this timeless love story set in early 1970s Harlem. Newly engaged 19-year-old Tish and her fiancé Fonnie have a beautiful future ahead, but their plans are derailed when Fonnie is arrested for a crime he did not commit. Now the pair and their families must fight for justice in the name of love and the promise of the American dream in this lush, moving, dramatic film, also starring Regina King. This is a 2018 film. It is rated R. It runs in 119 minutes, pretty much 2 hours. It stars Kiki Lane, Stephen James, Coleman Domingo, Tiana Paris, Michael Beach, Dave Franco, Diego Luna, Pedro Pascal, Ed Skrein, Brian Tyree Henry, and Regina King. If Beale Street Could Talk. So I know this was in theaters. It's not my cup of tea to see in theaters, so I've seen it here many months later, and I enjoyed it. It is a very common movie, very common story, very common plot. I don't know how people keep writing hit novels about this stuff, but it's just from a different angle, a different point of view, but it's the same story over and over again. So this adaptation of this story, we'll call it that, was nice. I can't say that I prefer it over other adaptations and other angles of the story that we've seen in so many other movies, so many. But most of the time, this story is told from a very dark point of view. Rioting and prejudice and maybe murder on the streets and breaking into houses and controlled by a bunch of white people just throughout the movie, just ugly, ugly situations. And this is kind of a happier version of it. There's a lot of coloring in the background of the movie the whole time, a lot of yellows, a lot of bright colors, a lot of laughing. It's people that are happy in their lives even though something happens to derail their life. And how do come out on the other side of something happening in your life and make life work along the way? Maybe your lawyer isn't on your side or isn't able to get the job done when you've had prejudice done towards you. And maybe you can't work enough to pay all the bills, and maybe somebody was done wrong, but you just can't win. And so you need to find a way to get through life. And it's that story that we've heard a lot of times, but it's a lot brighter version of it. There's a lot of love thrown around, and there's a lot of love talked about. There's a lot of just happiness and people that are getting it and know how to be nice to each other and get along. And then there's people who are critical and blame it on religion. And there's just a lot to this movie. It's very heavy, probably more heavy than I thought it would be. But I knew what it was going to be about. I just didn't know what point of view they would be taking. So I'm glad that they didn't focus completely on the situation that happens. If you haven't seen the movie, I'll leave that alone. And a lot of other movies focus on that way too much, so we'll just leave that there. And as far as the acting goes, like, this is an easy movie to really act in because you're given your lines and you can act angry, you can act resentful, you can act all kinds of other things. And it's all about if we buy your performance. Like, are you that passionate, are you that mad, That's all really the questions come up to. And I think across the board, most of the people did a pretty good job of acting like what their character should be acting like, not what they as a person would react to, because it's heavy stuff. A lot of people would just put on a shocked face or put on a mad face or something, and just kind of say what they would kind of react to the thing if they heard it on the news or something. And I didn't get that from anybody in this film, so that means the acting is good. Um, but I don't think that the good acting helps the bad way of doing the movie. A lot of the camera angles are very effective, up close and moving side to side and stuff, but we have two or three scenes in this movie that are just not necessary at all. And those and some other situations really slow down the movie a lot. And you're just kind of wondering why we're still sitting with two people at a table talking about nothing really. And it gets to be like that in this scene and that scene and that scene, and then these other scenes just aren't necessary. And so throughout, you get this feeling like they're focusing on one important thing and then they're taking a scene to explain nonsense. And it just kind of goes up and down with the importance of the main subject, and they can't keep their focus. So, all in all, I mean, I kind of enjoyed If Beale Street Could Talk, and there's a lot of characterization, there's a lot of personality in it. There's a little bit of music, but I was kind of expecting more music, to be honest. They say it's on like the jazz capital of the world or something like that at the beginning of the movie. And I was expecting more of that, but they don't really explore the town. They just kind of focus on their own little world. And yeah, so all in all, it's pretty good. I'm going to give If Beale Street Could Talk a B minus. I think it was pretty good. I do suggest watching it. And I think it's something, but I just think that there's so many of this kind of movies that it's hard to stand out. And if you're going to be kind of boring and if you're going to be excessive with the rated R material, we'll say that it's just hard to stand out, when you have such a prototypical story. I've seen some amazing movies that nobody's ever heard of before, and they have the same kind of scenes that this one has, and they pull them off much better. This one got a lot of push behind it, and I'm sure a lot of people saw it in theater, but it did not do things as well as some unknown movies. So I think B minus is a pretty fair grade. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And as always, enjoy your movies. Thanks.